on Son of Man.
And then, as usual, every Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning at Radio Mark 105.5, time with Mark is time with Son of Man is on. So that is what we are going to discuss. You would have heard of a number of things this week. There was a lot of talk about some taxes that the finance minister was bringing in and tried to to load the Ghanaian who is already overburdened with taxes. He was bringing more taxes. Indeed, some of the taxes are most bizarre, very bizarre. And sometimes you wonder, especially the reasons for which these taxes are being levied on people. They should find something intelligent to say. There is this tax of every moving vehicle, paying 100 cedis a month because they want to encourage the use of electric cars. I found the reason behind the imposition of this tax very bizarre indeed. And I asked myself, the person who gave this reason, what is in his head? What does he have between his two ears? What do you mean by trying to promote the use of environmental friendly cars, reducing carbon emissions cars? I don't understand, because this thing about electric cars is 50 good years away. In the most advanced states of the United States of America, even within the United States of America, some states have set forth a period of 10 years hence, to make the use of these electric cars mandatory. And these cars, they have a special, charging port where you go to charge these. They are not in Ghana. I've never seen an electric car before. And I don't know how many people living in the Upper West now. I don't know how many of them have seen an electric car before. I certainly have not seen one. How can you impose that thing now? You want to just tax people and get money and make a revenue. And when you get that revenue, nobody knows how you are going to spend it. How has the 100 cedis on the car, how is it going to promote, the use of electric cars in Ghana? You haven't told us what your target amount is. How much are you going to collect, and how are you going to use that amount to promote the use of these electric cars? All they want to do is collect this money, put it in the consolidated fund, and go and use it and go on holidays, take their wives and children and even their dogs to hospitals abroad. Even their dogs. And we see the allowances that they are taking. All those allowances that people up there are taking. If you could shed off a lot of those allowances, you will cover these amounts. And then we appear, but we hate to think. Why don't you know that in the pool of people owning cars in Ghana, we have pensioners? A pensioner has finally gone on pension and he has got his car. And you are telling him to pay money on it. How long is he going to live to use this car? He should pay pension. In so many places, pensioners don't pay for such things. So nobody could think like that. Nobody, the whole Minister of Finance and all those sitting up there, none of them could think about this. There was nobody who could think that the pensioners and certain categories of people ought not to pay these types of things on their cars. People who are terminally ill and have cars, they should be exempted. Is it difficult identifying such people? People who are, physically challenged, who at least are using some sort of motorized vehicle or the other, they should be exempted. Don't we think of such things? This is just bizarre. And even when I went to pay for this DVLA, and even the insurance, I know pay every year based on the formula of calculation for, the wear and tear of a car, the insurance rate goes down. But now it is even going up. The insurance I pay every year on my car is going up and up and up and up. DVLA is the same. They're just finding ways and means. When you were spending this money and doing despicable and unacceptable things with these monies. People come to power and then they look at the pool of money and the revenues that the country is generating. They look at it as their personal money. They can use it anyhow. Why do we think like that? How can you just come, the money that is there belongs to me, let me see, how am I going to spend it? How am I going to enjoy it? Yeah, let's go to Eurobond. Let's go and get a loan for Ghana. And most of the loans will be paid 40 years from today. So you are just collecting. Then you get, a commission on it. Go and put in your account. You are doing business like that. You are smart. You will collect it. You will collect that money. But God knows who is going to spend that money. And you are just pushing all manner of taxes on people. Yeah, our topic today is about lithium, which is a mineral. But I will have to touch on these taxes first before I come to that. Now also, somebody went and was squatting somewhere and suddenly came out that there will be restrictions in the importation of certain items. And that if you want to import any of those items, you should come to the Minister for Trade. Look, these things, I was young when these things were done. And there was even a commission after Nkrumah was overthrown. The Olelo Commission sat, and came out with a report, a damning report. And after he gave this report, they used that report as a basis to go in and then audit the properties of all of Nkrumah's ministers. Look, how much were you getting? What is the total amount you generally earned? It is this. What are the things that you have bought? Where are the receipts? They calculated them. When they calculate the extra that is left, how much did you buy this one, this one, this one? You got this amount. You have bought this. Where did you get the 500 million from to buy the extra things that you have in your house? So they seized them and went and auctioned them. We have that. And I also know that during the Nkrumah period, 72, they gave import licenses. But people went behind, especially Indians and Lebanese or foreigners for that matter. They were the top businessmen at that time. They will go and see an influential person, give the person the money. The person will go and collect the import license. Import license, they give the people money in dollars. They will just take this dollar, go to the black market, change and come and pay back. Because the bank rate is always less than the black market rate. So they'll go to the black market with the dollar, change and get plenty cedis, and come and give your money to you. After all, it's your money you want. There was no way of finding out whether these monies that are given, the people use these monies to actually import anything into the country. There was nothing. There were no verifications. And those who were to do those verifications, they themselves will be bribed. Why should we sit down for a group of people, maybe 8 people, and go and see the allowances they will be collecting? They will now be deciding, so Ghana, we are going to import rice. And can you bring the rice? Are you affiliated to our party? And even more often than not, the minister supervising this type of corrupt enterprise, he will tell the daughters and then the sisters and brothers to form companies, and will be awarding the contracts to them. We have had those examples. So why should it be so? If ever any of these things is to be done, there must be a committee of parliament, a committee in parliament to do that. And it should be televised live. You want import license in foreign exchange, go in there and sit down and talk about that import license so that we all watch you. You see, one thing we ought to notice is this. You cannot fight corruption in darkness. Corruption must be fought in the open. And that is why I support this Kisi Ajabe, who was talking of his disgust and dismay at the treatment that he was having from the judiciary. I certainly support him. But sometimes this Amidu to the first special prosecutor, he likes spoiling things. I don't know. The man, he appears to be in a different world. He has rather come around and he's attacking this man. What the man said is right. That's what the majority of Ghanaians are feeling. That there's a group of people who have come together to thwart and to frustrate the work of the special prosecutor. And so if he has come out, after all, in his own, terms of reference for his work, he is to report to the public. And who is the public? The public is we. He is a special prosecutor. Mataramidu. The special prosecutor is a special prosecutor. He is not the ordinary prosecutor. So you cannot talk about, see, we are confusing these two matters. That he ought to do things as we know it. It is because what we do as we know it, the traditional prosecutor's way of, carrying out his assignment was not effective enough to flush out corrupt people. So we set up a special prosecutor. And it is the work of the special prosecutor to come every moment and then report to the generality of Ghanaians that this is what I'm doing, and these are the sort of obstacles I'm having in my way. We ought to know. We ought to know. He is not a traditional prosecutor who will say when he goes to court, he shouldn't go and call a press conference. He must do that. That is why he is special. That is why he's special. Of course, talking about these irresponsible restrictions on imports, and the Assam government has withdrawn them. I don't know what is happening. We always like to disgrace ourselves. We like to disgrace ourselves. And this ties in with this lithium thing that I'm going to talk about. I've always told you that I worked at a special section of the Foreign Ministry as a research officer. When we talk about research officers, we mean intelligence officers. So we have that section. And I also worked as a diplomat outside in several countries, mostly majoring in Oriental and Middle Eastern, area of the affairs there. I was the chief Middle East, specialist when I was with the Foreign Service. And I served in Lebanon, I served in Egypt, I served in Saudi Arabia. And at the time I was in Saudi Arabia, I was heading the mission. In fact, when I was going out as a diplomat, I was the youngest diplomat, the youngest career diplomat in the whole world. No, I'm not talking of Ghana, I'm not talking of Africa. I was the youngest career diplomat, holding a diplomatic passport. And then later, I was just about the only diplomat in Ghana who could run a whole embassy alone. And I did run an embassy alone with just an accountant and a secretary. Those were the people I had from Ghana supporting me, an accountant and a secretary. Now, let me explain this for you to understand. An embassy is a set of departments under one roof. Well, there could be other offices here and there. You have the consular section. They will deal with welfare matters, education matters. You can add education. You can deal with travel certificates. You can talk about passports, and certain special assignments that the passport officer is given. And we call him a consular officer. So I was a well-qualified consular officer. Consular officers are special officers, well-trained for that job. Now, I was well-trained for that job, and that was what I was doing. Now, when you get into the embassy itself, you have, I'm talking of the main components of an embassy. You have the chancellery. You have the chancellery. That is the office. The chancellery, and you have what we call a head of chancery. That is the chief administrative officer. And I was a qualified and certified administrator. So I could do that job. Now, another important portion of an embassy is the communication systems, because you have to get some special redundant communication system. When I say redundant communication systems, what I mean is that even though the open source communication systems are there, what are the open source communication systems? It's like your phone. You can take a phone and ring. Even though that time that I was outside, it was difficult to phone, but you could still use a phone. But that one can be easily tapped. So we had secret gadgets that we could use to send our information. We had secret radios. We also had telex machines. And I was well qualified in all those things. Now you also have code and cipher. Code and cipher is to write in a secret way that nobody, if I write it and give it to you, you cannot make a head or tail out of it. And I was well qualified for that. It is difficult for you to see a diplomat who is qualified in all these things. Then I also had the grade within the embassy to head an embassy. So that is it. And I think now let's go to another portion. The secretarial area. The secretarial area is where you may have a computer or at that time an electronic typewriter, IBM, and then you have to do touch typing. And I could do touch typing at the speed of 100 words a minute. 100 words a minute. So if I got any reports, I could type it myself 100 words without looking at the typewriter keyboard, using the QWERTY, ASDF:LKJ. So, and there was nobody in the Ghana Ministry of Foreign Affairs who could handle all these together. You may know one, you wouldn't know the other one. So I was chosen to head, the embassy, in Saudi Arabia. And I had only one person who was my secretary, and I had another person who was the accountant. And I was running everything. I was the charge d'affaires or head of the mission of the embassy. I was the head of chancellery, chief administrator. I was the consular officer, and I had some special works also to do, all departments. So I'm saying with this type of position that I had, I met a lot of Ghanaians, delegations. They will come to do a lot of things, and most of them have some inferiority complex. They will come and mess things up, and we sit down here and disgrace ourselves. Sometimes you go and meet your counterparts. That time, you could go to other embassies, British embassy, Australian embassy, American embassy, and we call them courtesy call. For example, I could go to any embassy and meet my colleague there. If it's the head of chancellor, I could go and meet him. If it's the consular officer, I could go and meet him. So I could go and meet the head of mission in the other mission. I could go and meet the head of chancellery in another embassy, the consular in another. So you will hear a lot. Diplomats, we like trading information amongst ourselves. We look at us as some sort of confraternity or confraternity. That we are brother, even though we represent separate countries. So sometimes I could meet people and we'll be talking, they will ask me some questions which are a bit embarrassing. So I sort of prompt them. I said, no, don't ask. You are trying to be insulting when you ask questions that way. And they like doing that. They'll say, how come that there are brilliant people like you, and then in Africa, where your rulers, they take such stupid decisions? You see, trying to set me apart and against my own, politicians. That trying to say that, you are so smart, you are intelligent. How come that your country, they take such stupid decisions? And I tell them, please don't bring that point in. Let me just, have my conversation with you. But of course, we have stupid people. Otherwise, you won't have somebody going to the UN and say, Ashahwan, what is the use of jailing hair? That what will Ghana lose if we remove hair? Can you imagine that? You think China will say that? And when you do that, you embarrass, the fraternity of career diplomats. When I'm talking about that, I'm talking of careers. Somebody who has taken it as his job, not a politician who has been appointed. I'm talking of career. That's your job. You feel it to your bone when your own country comes and does such irresponsible and despicable things, disgracing everybody, as if everybody is an idiot in Africa and Ghana. When we have people, and I don't know what comes into their heads when they get political position, they start doing stupid things. You have gone to take an IMF loan. The IMF conditionalities are this. If you come to them, you do not do import restrictions. You cannot do import restrictions. Some of the money that is put in the IMF and you stupidly squander your own and go and collect, it is by countries that produce and sell rice. So if you openly open your stupid mouth that you are going to stop buying rice, why should you announce to the world? Do it, Sam Rosa. Do it. I mean, you don't need to tell everybody. And you couldn't even read the injunctions that the IMF has with you. So the IMF has told the idiots, come on, withdraw that stupid thing. Now they say they are coming to consult. Look at that. Of course, the minority in government and civil society groups, they all woke up against it. Most of it not because, look, all the things that they mentioned, none of them should be brought into Ghana, as far as I'm concerned. None, not a single one of them should be brought into Ghana. When I was young, let me tell you something. I have told you people, my mode of speaking to you is according to how it is done by every diplomatic mission. And that most of the things that I tell you, that's what they are writing to their countries about you. All what I'm saying is exactly what they write. I am saying, when I was a young man in the 50s and 60s, Ghanaians didn't know rice. Let me tell you this again. Ghanaians didn't know what rice was. No Ghanaian knew what rice was. Rice was, a festive type of feast or dish that was made for Christmas Day or New Year's Day. And rice was actually popularized by the Hausas who came. They came, and even the Muslims who stayed in the Zongo, they brought rice in the forest belt of Ashanti, Western, Eastern, and Central. They didn't know what rice was. I am the one telling you this. They never knew what rice was. They knew mankani, plantain, and all those things, banchi. That was their food. When they got up, they made their fufu and ate it. They didn't eat rice. But then, when secondary schools started multiplying, then the colonial government started introducing rice to those who went to secondary school. So by the time, we didn't know. The people didn't know. We were not smart enough to know that they were introducing this thing so that when we grow up, we'll be eating something that they will produce and they'll come and, dump it on us here. Ghanaians didn't know rice. Take this from me. It was only in the north that we had a wild rice. And it was brown. It was brown. The fat seeds, even around my house, there were areas that you could have wild rice. Wild, you go and you could have swampy areas, waterlogged areas. You see rice, you go and just harvest it. And our people had little fields of rice. It was later they started bringing in what they call the improved breeds, which were all useless. And let me tell you another thing. Polished rice is the most dangerous thing you can eat on this earth. Rice, the brown rice that we have, was the best rice. Go and do your own research and find out. The brown rice that we had was the best rice. So these people went and said, that they wouldn't bring rice. And they didn't even say it with any sense. They didn't say, no, it's so sad. It's sad to listen to these people. Yeah, that the importation of rice is high, so you cut it down. By how much? And by the way, why would government money be used to go and be bringing worthless things like rice and all those things? Importing wine. They're importing wine into Ghana. Wine? I can teach anybody to make wine. I know how to make wine. Very good wine too. Why should we import in millions? And then matches. We had Kade Match Factory. Where is it? And we are importing all sorts of stupid things. Very, very stupid things. Go and then people's chicken. In fact, most of the chicken that we bring, when people outside, what I saw was this. If they are going to, let's say, import chicken from one country, they will bring their experts to come and see where your poultry farm is. The sort of food that you use in feeding your poultry. They will medically check, their vet people will check the type of food you give them, how the health of the poultry, and every time they will go and check them so that their fowls won't die. You will go and dress them and come and dump it on them. Here we don't do that. And even if you appoint a Ghanaian to go and do that, they will bribe him and he wouldn't mind. Most of the poultry that they bring is dead. Is dead fowls. One day they went to the port in Tema. When they opened this container, bringing in some chicken, everybody ran away. They sort of said that the water was rotten, and they brought it. Even when the Food and Drugs Board went and declared it unwholesome, and they threw it away, people actually went and stole the rotten chicken. And when they were roasting it, why should anybody bring a chicken to Ghana? Why should anybody bring it? It's just a means by those importers to stash money outside. Now, if you say you are going to restrict the importation of guinea fowls, are you telling me that the money that we get from our gold and cocoa and timber, that is what you are using to bring in this chicken? Then I'm prepared to stay away from any foreign chicken for the rest of my life. If you can use that money to promote the growth of these things inside Ghana. Why will Ghana go and use its own foreign exchange? And when we bring in dead fowls, most of the fowls, if they are dead, they will die. They will dress them and come and give them to you and you eat them. That is why I've stopped. I will not eat any worthless chicken, cold chicken anywhere. Go to the village. Come to the village. Buy the local fowl. Go and prepare it and eat and see. You will never go. I mean, the amount that they mentioned are so vulgar. And people go and buy those things. For what? So if you are going to restrict it, it means that the Bank of Ghana is the one that is giving the money for them to bring it. Because if it were people who were using their own money, you won't be worried. So if you want to restrict, why should you use $2 billion to import a chicken? And then the other thing is, they will tell the poultry farmers, or the poultry farmer will tell you that, you see, the poultry that is brought, the price is lower than what they produce. Yes, it will be lower. You know why? Because when you and your policymaker, you are idiots. When they say they are promoting the production of local rice, they will put a lot of costs on the food and the medical, a lot of taxes and levies on top. How are you I mean, working on the price of poultry when you have gone to put a lot of money on the feed? Outside, the governments there, they will intentionally subsidize the work of the poultry farmer. So most of them, they lose money, but government will go and subsidize it for you and say, you keep making it, be sending it to Ghana. Our point is that your business shouldn't collapse. But Ghanaians must never learn to make this fowl themselves. If they start making it, we will lose the market. So when we keep them away from making this poultry farm, they'll be there. They are stupid. Most of these things are subsidized. But if you announce that you are subsidized, no, that it is an unfair trade practice. They will come and threaten you. I have met so many people who have come outside to sign contracts for Ghana, and when I sat with them, they will come with big titles. But when they come, I used to go, of course, I'll meet them at the airport, take them to a hotel, leave them there. Then those who have brought them, they will sneak. When I have gone away, they will go to these people with envelopes, big envelopes, go and give the envelopes to them. In the night, they will smuggle girls for them. I'm telling you, sometimes they will invite. One time, a particular minister came and they took her to a casino. They call it Casino du Luban. We went there. They brought people dancing and food until we closed around 4:30. And the meeting of that day was starting at 8. Imagine we closed 4:30, and from Casino du Luban in Lebanon, Beirut, to our houses was 1 hour. So 4:30, by the time we got home, it was 5:30. And then the meeting was to start at 8. The minister who came here drunk and was so tired. When he went, he couldn't see anything, just signed the agreement. I'm telling you, I was there. Those are the agreements. Even your senior minister, he went to Germany. They brought an agreement in Germany, and he just signed it. When he came, the whole agreement was against him. Anyway, we have lithium. It's a mineral that has been discovered in Ghana. It's already in some African countries. We have some in Zimbabwe. We have Nigeria also has lithium. But the biggest producer of lithium is the ore, or whatever they call it, is Chile. And what Ghana has found can get us about $4 billion. Now, lithium, what is it used for? They use it for rechargeable batteries. So the phone that you have will never work if there's no lithium. Your computer will never work if there's no lithium. Almost all the things, your desktops and laptops and all that, you need lithium. But above all, we are talking of green economy and green energy systems. The electric car that is coming will never work if there is no lithium, because they want to cut down on carbon, the production of carbon and noxious, gases that are, sniffing away the oxygen that we have. In fact, if you go to some countries, you have to wear a nose mask always. You can't even see far. There's smog, a lot of smoke in the air. So lithium has become a very strategic mineral indeed. Now, so I haven't been surprised that our people found this lithium and quickly signed an agreement with a company called Barari, and this Barari itself has been set up by a company called Atlantic Lithium, which is an Australian company. Very good. Now I'm going to tell you how these people are able to cheat the African. You see, we are here, we are around, and there are so many people with a lot of experience as I have. At the Ministry of Foreign, they will never contact them. A few sort of corrupt bandits, they will go behind and sign these things. Let me tell you one simple thing. Now, this Barari DV or company that is here and then has gone into an agreement with Ghana to mine lithium. Have we done due diligence, a forensic background check on this company? What is their track record? Have we done that? More often than not, they have not done it. And if they have, it is a short work. Because I'm sure this Barari has given each person who is on the team that is doing this about $1 million each. I'm the one telling you that's my experience. And I used to write a lot about these things. That's the first thing. I'm not saying that's what they did. But all the areas that I have worked with has always been like that. That is when you see them rushing things through. Hey, quicker, you sign. So that's the first thing. Have they done any forensic background check on this Barari? Now, what sort of relationship has Barari with Atlantic Lithium Company of Australia? So you may sign an agreement with Barari Ghana, and then you will tell Barari Ghana that if we have a disagreement, we'll go to a court in Ghana. Let me tell you where the black man is stopping. You have signed the agreement with Barari. Now, you have said that if there's any disagreement with Barari, you will go to a Ghanaian court. Now, but if you go and check, because it is Atlantic Lithium Australia, that has also, which owns Barari Ghana. What agreement has the Ghana company got with the Australian company? You will go there and they will tell you that if Barari has signed any agreement with a foreign government up to this amount, and there's litigation, they Australian Lithium will take over the case, and that the case will be adjudicated in Australia or Britain. I'm telling you. So when you see Barari alone and you sign, they'll tell you no, it has been overridden by the Australia agreement. Now, this Atlantic Lithium of Australia, have they done due diligence on them too? For all you know, the owners of Atlantic Lithium are also different, who also have an overriding, agreement such that when you even come and sign one in Ghana, before you know, you can't go far with it. Now, I'll tell you another stupid thing that our people do. We normally sign agreements. We do not ratify them. There's a big difference between signing an agreement and ratifying the agreement. Now, I'll give you an example. There was a time that an Australian ship came to Tema Harbour, But then some international company, Australia owned a certain international company. So they were looking for, any property or asset that was owned by Australia anywhere, plane, anything that Australia had, which was of heavy value. They will go and then block it. So when they got to know that this Australian ship was at Tema in Ghana, they told the Ghanaian government to go and sequester, to arrest this ship, because Ghana was a signatory to the maritime law of the sea, the law of the sea. So Ghana quickly went and arrested the ship. When Ghana arrested the ship, Australia said, Argentina said, release the ship. They said, no, we will release it. Then Australia threatened Ghana, if you don't release it, we will sue you. They said, no, we have gone to sign the law of the sea. Ghana went to court with Australia. Not Australia, Argentina, please, Argentina. Argentina came and said, do you say you signed the law of the sea? They said, yes, look at it, we signed on this date. Then they asked Ghana, did you ratify it? Then our lawyers turned and saw, look at how stupid they are. So suppose I was a diplomat and was to look at the shame. Some small boy, just ask them. Please, if you are watching me, please don't call. When you call, my live streaming will go off. So please wait. I think I can identify the person calling. It must be my son who is in Accra. I don't know whether he has that. So Argentina went and sued Ghana. Don't call, please. Do not call this number. Please do not call. Yeah, so that is what happened. The calls are disturbing our streaming on Facebook. I've seen somebody, I think that's Amos. Yeah, anyway, so when we went, what happened? We lost the case and we paid money. Now, about this lithium Ghana, a similar thing is happening, because there are certain aspects of it that should have been brought to Parliament. And those who went and signed this thing in darkness never brought it to Parliament. And they wanted some sort of agency, certificate of agency. They said, sign it quickly. And most of these things, I have been an environmental specialist or consultant for a long time. So I know a lot about these things. Don't forget that at one time I was a chief disaster control officer and we deal with the environment. Now, before you mine everywhere, there are so many impact assessments that you do. Number one, where is the forest? I understand it is at Mankesim or some area up there that they are going to mine. Very good. What sort of assets do we have in that forest? What type of trees, butterflies, of interest, animals? There could be some rare herbs and trees there that mining in that area. I believe it's going to be strip mining. Strip mining means they will go and clear the whole bush off and then do the mining. Have we done any environmental impact assessment that when you clear these things, maybe the place is just near some river, and then you clear it, and then rains will fall, and then you pollute all the rivers around there. You may kill certain trees, or destroy the habitats of certain animals and insects, and there are a lot of things that survive there by way of some interdependencies. Have we done that impact analysis, or we are only looking at the lithium? Now, when you have done the mining of the lithium, is this some type of strip mining where you just go and then dig and you have borrowed pits? Have we tested the capacity of the company that is doing this to reclaim where you are mining to what we call the status quo ante? Because when you are doing topsoil mining, you have to take the population of trees and vegetations and all the things that are there So that when they have done that, they have to reclaim the place. They have to reclaim, and then the way it was before they started mining, they have to go back and then put those trees back there again. Have we taken the census of the trees that are there? What is the social impact analysis that we have done? You see, if you haven't done any impact analysis or short impact analysis, you start harassing, let's say, EPA. Go quickly and get this report. Shall we need this money quickly? Or those who signed this thing, maybe some of them, they have already negotiated for their brothers and cousins and relatives and friends to be part of this Barari company. Or they themselves want to, or they have gotten some one-off payments of, let's say, $5 million each. So they want to rush the whole thing, then they go and eat the money. They are rich like that. You see, we do things in a shorter manner. Have we been able to make any comparisons as to how much, royalty is to be paid on this lithium? Now, we have been talking about production in place of taxation. Is the lithium also going to be carried raw outside? Again, lithium. Are we going to carry raw like we do to our bauxite and even our gold, our timber? There was a time when Abdulaziz Kaldi, the father-in-law of Abedi Pele, a famous footballer, his wife Maha, the father was my friend. He was in Lebanon, he was in Saudi Arabia with me, and he was selling Ghana timber. And I used to go with him in Jeddah. So one day when we went, he was he was selling processed timber lumber from Ghana. Then I saw some that he brought from some other countries. If you see the difference, you cry. I was so ashamed. I told him he should cover the Ghana one with the tarpaulin. They were so crudely cut. The finishing was so bad, so poor. But the wood was of the best of quality. But the workmanship was horrible because they were using ancient, old Precambrian machines. Ancient and old Precambrian machines. And if you saw those that came from Europe, the finishing alone was such that you would like even to make friends with the wood, with the lumber, with the boards that they cut. Beautiful. Now, have we spoken to this company and said, look, when you come, your company is going to run along these lines. Are we going to process it up to a point? Are we also telling them that anytime the world price of lithium goes up by this percentage, we will also charge you this percentage? We should have an organic agreement, which will continue to be adjusted, especially according to the world market. And then you can even put safeguards that whatever money they are to pay, this is the hedge. It's a hedge. The hedge amount is what amount you are collecting now. Even if they are losing, what they will pay you will not go below that. But when it is going up, you will get more. Have we done that? Are we thinking of also setting up a refining station, a small factory? It has been leased out for 15 years. This 15 years, we told them that by 5 years, you should be producing this and this and that and that in Ghana. We will not. We will not do that. And that is why we have a huge problem. We have worthless people. Look, a lot of your people who are there, don't worry. Look, I was a career diplomat. They do not even have the confidence. When you send them abroad, if you go and see them, you'll be shocked. I'm telling you. When they are on radio here and they are talking to Ghanaians, they'll be talking, yeah. Let them go outside and go and sit with the white man. You see them shivering like this. Otherwise, you won't be here and then talk about one thing when you are in opposition, when you are in government. Look at this agreement that they have signed. How much are we earning from our gold? And why have these companies been there? They have been mining as a commercial company for more than 100 years. Up to now, they are not refining the gold in Ghana. What about our diamond? There are certain items that are even exported. We don't hear of them. Bauxite. You won't hear of it. Nobody says anything. And look, it's so sad, If you go outside and see our officials, They sit, they look very timid. You see, that's why I usually say, look, if you are a Ghanaian going to school in Ghana, Leman Technical University or the Dombo University, part of your system should be such that at least you have been to 3 West African countries. 3. You shall go to Nigeria, even if it's for 1 week. Burkina Faso, Nigeria, even when you are going, you pass through Togo, you pass through Benin. It is a very powerful lesson. You will learn a lot. Look, you would have known nothing on this earth if you even have your PhD from Upper West here, from first degree, masters, and then you have gone nowhere. Let's say you have even not gone to Kumasi. There are areas that you will just go, and when you come back, you have confidence. When we were in your village, let your villagers wait, and let people come, even from Kumasi, our Kumasi here. You see that those coming from Kumasi look more superior, more enlightened, and more confident of themselves than the guy in the village. They are from Kumasi. The people in Kumasi. It is the same. Insert people in places like London and America, New York. Put them there for 2 months. When they come back, you see they're more confident of themselves. So there's always something. So when you have your diplomats here, they'll come and be talking rubbish. When they go out, they'll be shivering, and they go and sign nonsense. But there is one thing that we ought to note. And the thing we ought to note is this, that I will also not support anybody who will say that Ghana should collect, let's say, this lithium, we should mine it ourselves. We can never do it. It isn't that we cannot do it, but the system is such that it will collapse. Because immediately you say Ghana will do it, when we start, the politicians will seize it, and they will go and put all manner of useless people there. Look at Tor. Tor has collapsed. Tor was being manned by Italians. And those who are old enough, you might have heard of Gaip and all those things, but it was an Italian company, I believe. It was running very well. Immediately they gave it to Ghanaians, the whole thing has collapsed. Anytime we put our people, they'll just see it as a gold mine. Also go and chop money. So I think it is good. I mean, majority shares should not be in government hands. If it's there, if they have controlling shares and they are to employ people on the board, it will collapse. Because worthless, useless people will just go there. And even when they are appointed, they say, you also go there, try and go there. And that place, their allowances are very high. They will be talking of allowances and not what you do for Ghana. So lithium is a very strategic mineral, and the price is only going to go up, but we do not have the people with the confidence to strike out an agreement with anybody. And when they are doing it, there will be so many hidden laws inside the agreement. If we don't take time, watch, listen what I am telling you. One day, we are going to pay, what do they call that thing? When the agreement fails or something, they are going to take us to court, and we are going to pay a lot of money on these things. I'm telling you, watch and see. Because we will sign so many things, and they will because they know how to do it. Like I'm talking of this Atlantic Lithium. Have we done due diligence on them? Have we done due diligence about the Australian company? Do we know who owns it and what agreement they have with the owners? So you will, when you lift the veil and you start finding out who owns these companies, you go and find some hidden things, and they always use that to beat the African and the Ghanaian. Judgment debt. It's judgment debt I'm talking of. If we don't take that, we'll pay judgment debt. Anyway, so that is it for today. I had some little bit to talk about fire service, but I'll be talking about that I think next week. I just looked and my time is off, and a lot of people were also ringing and disturbing me a bit. So next week we'll be talking about our Ghana fire service and also some public and civil services. So have a nice day. God bless you. Tomorrow is Saturday. Spend your weekend very well. God bless you. Bye.